I'm charging Sheamus with perjury and fraud because this guy came back telling everybody that he was repackaged, and if the people are the jury, then he is lying in front of the court because this guy, all he did was just change his appearance. There's nothing different about Sheamus, and there's been nothing different about Sheamus for 4 years. Just because you give him a stupid-ass haircut doesn't mean that this is any better of a wrestler. I haven't seen one new move from him. Just because you give him a new Titantron doesn't mean it's a new character. Honestly, this whole guy is just, he's old, it's stale, and you can't just put a new packaging on an old face and expect me to forget it because it didn't work with Kane's mask. Why is it going to work with Sheamus?
See, here's the thing with Sheamus. If I had a very simplistic view of what character development in wrestling was, and I would be sitting here agreeing with Duke right about now. But unfortunately, for his argument, I don't have that simplistic view on character development. I look at Sheamus, and he has made great inroads on his character. Now, I will admit, though, that he does have some similarities that he's carried with him literally from the very first time that he stepped foot onto the main roster in WWE. A badass Irishman. That's the foundation of his character. Like, shit, if you expect for him to change that, that is not going to happen at all. There are many people out there who take things from gimmick to gimmick to gimmick with them. For example, Randy Orton, he's always been a little bit demented in every single one of his gimmicks. You have somebody like a Triple H, he's always had that kind of like holier-than-thou arrogance in every single gimmick that he's played. And CM Punk, he's always been an asshole. You know, just things that you carry from gimmick to gimmick. And when I look at Sheamus right now, he is great at what he does right now and the whole picture that is working together. It's kind of like in pro wrestling, you have to create an atmosphere around you. And then if you have all of those things working together in tandem, for example, your look, your entrance, your theme music, your in-ring ability, the way that you talk, the way that you move. And I look at Sheamus, and I think that he has all of that working for him. So I say Sheamus not guilty on any of the charges. These are actually very frivolous charges, and this shit should be thrown out of court if I have anything to say about it.
Well, I think the problem that you're looking at here is that you're viewing Sheamus as this character. When you look at it, there's nothing different. Just because this guy disappeared for a little bit doesn't mean that they've changed him up. You're saying that there's character development. Why? Because he's picking on guys that are smaller than him? Because now he's Mr. Money in the Bank for no reason whatsoever? He isn't getting over. I don't think, like, this isn't the kind of heat where people are like, boo, I hate this character. This is, you look stupid. That's right next to X-Pac heat. And everybody who watched X-Pac knows exactly what we're talking about when we say X-Pac heat. That's the kind of get off of my TV. And that's exactly the feeling that I get. This guy hasn't changed up his moveset in 4 years. And while, yes, you can keep some things that are fundamental to the character from place to place, Sheamus is still the exact same person. There's literally nothing different about him except they made him look different. He hasn't changed any of the moves that he does in the ring. We still get every single thing. Every Sheamus match has the exact same moves. You don't see him pull out anything new. I mean, the springboard stunner looks terrible, but at least John Cena tries it. I mean, at this point, he might as well put it away, but at least he's tried doing something new. And the worst thing that he did was he took Money in the Bank from people who could actually use it to better their characters. Tell me that Roman Reigns wouldn't be made 2 to 3 times better because they gave him that Money in the Bank briefcase. And now, because Sheamus is the same person, it's just people kind of forgot that Sheamus is a piece of shit for a few months. Now we're going to be okay with giving it to Sheamus? This is absolutely ridiculous, and he is absolutely guilty of all of these things because the guy hasn't changed, and they're bringing him out there like he has.
Well, here's the thing. You want to talk about Sheamus picking on guys that is smaller than him? That actually is character development there, and I think that it's a great thing that the WWE creative team went with that for Sheamus's character, because I've mentioned this before on the show, and this is something that I've noticed myself, and I know a lot of people out there have noticed as well. We're in an era in WWE where things have changed. We've moved past the big muscled up bodybuilder era, and we're moving towards the smaller guys that you would normally see on the indies and things like that. You have people like Daniel Bryan in WWE. You have people like Neville. You have people like Sami Zayn. These are smaller guys. There's never really been a point in WWE where they have been the dominant guys in the promotion, and I think that we have moved towards an era where those guys they're just coming in, and it seems like you have more and more of these guys coming in every single week. What WWE has done with Sheamus, they have their finger on the pulse of what the hell is going on, and they've taken this issue and they've planted it on Sheamus. So Sheamus is the guy who's going out there and he's speaking out on those things. He's talking about, where are the real men in WWE? Where are the guys who look like me? And he doesn't see those people, and it gets him pissed off. Now, for you to say that he hasn't made any changes to his moveset, that's complete bullshit. Because if you had actually watched some of the matches that he's had with people like Neville, people like Daniel Bryan, that is one of the most ruthless things that I've seen in WWE, where he was in the ring with Daniel Bryan, and this was on a recent episode of SmackDown, and he beat the fucking brakes off of Daniel Bryan. Actually, at the end of the night, Bryan was bloodied, and Sheamus pretty much smeared Daniel Bryan's blood across his chest. Now, if that's not a badass, if that's not change, if that's not something different, then I don't know what the hell is. I think the issue with you is you clearly do not like Sheamus, and you're holding him prisoner to sins of the past. And that's your issue with Sheamus right now. But I guess we'll go ahead and move on to our closing arguments right now.
I don't remember the right word for this, but is it the prosecution?
Yes.
All right. The prosecution would like to call a witness. We would like to call Jay for our closing argument.
What?
Jay, besides being a brawler, how many new moves, and I actually am talking about moves this time, have you seen Sheamus pull out?
I've seen him pull out a few. I know.
Can you name them?
Go back and watch. Actually, I cannot name the move because I don't know what the fuck it is, but I know it's a move where he puts Daniel Bryan up into the position for, well, this is not just Daniel Bryan, it's anyone, but he puts them up into position for the suplex, and he just drops the person to the ground. And it looks like a botch, but it also looks like it hurts, and he's done it multiple times to the point where I know it's intentional. And like I said, it looks like it hurts, so that adds to the ruthlessness of his character.
See, and I understand the whole concept that he would be a brawler, but sometimes, like, everything that we've seen from a Sheamus match, you kind of get this same formula. And, I mean, although it kind of varies, it's always kind of the same. And then how can you really take that and say that that's a character development? And when, like, if he's not doing anything different, so sure, you bring him in and you're having him do these, like, okay, I'll give you a little bit to say maybe that fighting against little guys is character development, but what happens if Brock Lesnar wins that championship? Is he just not going to cash in until a little guy has the title? Is that something that we're going to look at? Because right now what we're looking at is, when you're saying character development, all I'm seeing is that Sheamus is a bully. Okay, he was a bully when he first debuted. All I'm saying is, I don't think this is a new Sheamus. I think this is just you seeing, oh, Sheamus is a heel again, so he's doing the exact same heel things that he's doing, but we put a different look on him, so I'm just going to overlook that and forget all the bad heel things that he did, and remember those 2 or 3 times Sheamus has been good, and act like everything else isn't there. I think you haven't seen enough from Sheamus to be able to say that Sheamus is awesome, and I think that, honestly, the fact that 95% of his track record says that this guy is bad and that he has not improved at all since he got into WWE. I think you're completely overlooking all of that, and you're just kind of marking out. You're saying, oh, cool, Sheamus is awesome.
Yeah, you're right. I'm overlooking all of that because it doesn't fucking matter. As you just proved my point, you're holding Sheamus prisoner to the past. You didn't like him before, so you come in with a biased view of who he is right now. And like I said already, he's a badass Irishman. That he'll never stop being that in WWE, but I'm not going to hold him prisoner to all of the years that WWE has gotten it so wrong, when now they finally have gotten it right, and Sheamus is now the person that he always should have been in WWE. And for you to mention the whole Money in the Bank situation, here's the thing. I have not said anything about Sheamus with Money in the Bank at all, because I honestly don't even know if he's going to get the fucking chance to cash it in, and I highly doubt that if he ever cashes in Money in the Bank, that he'll even win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But that doesn't mean anything to Sheamus. That leans more towards WWE and their propensity to, as Charlie would say, WWE doesn't build stars, they tell stories. Sheamus doesn't fit into the fucking story, and that has nothing to do with him. That has to do with the fact that his name is not Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, or Brock Lesnar. So him being Mr. Money in the Bank, I'm not even going to attempt to argue that. What I'll say is Sheamus is firing on all cylinders right now, or at least shit, he was. I don't know what's going on with him right now, but all I'll say is that WWE has done a great job of adding layers to his character, like I talked about with him attacking the little guys and having their finger on the pulse of what's going on, and just everything that comes together to make a professional wrestler and to make an attraction. Because if we were to talk about somebody like a Finn Balor, and I say, what's the most awesome thing about Finn Balor? I guarantee you, most of the people who answer that question, one of the first things they're going to mention is his entrance, the body paint. And that has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do what he does with what he does in the ring, but it adds to his character. That's layers to his character. And Sheamus, he has those layers to his character. So for you to say he's committed fraud and perjury, that's bullshit. And I say my client is not guilty.